How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Fam, and we are back with another FPL live stream. It says the deadline stream. I know I'm a few days early, but I have some plans tomorrow and Friday, so I won't be able to do the deadline stream. But I will be looking at your comments and that sort of stuff for the video, and the VOD does go up over on YouTube tomorrow. So make sure to check that out if you are unavailable to watch it. Well, we are here live on Twitch as we normally are once a week at a bare minimum. And we're going to take a look at how Gameweek 24 went. A week to forget, as it were, as we're all kind of keenly aware of Gameweek 25, what the FA Cup has implications for, as well as a bunch of other things going on around that with doubles and blanks. I got blank up on the graphic there. I couldn't remember which way it was. With Darwin Nunez. So Liverpool turnaround, is that what we're looking for our FPL teams? I've already made my transfers as well, so make sure to tune in for those once we go through how our team did, plus our predictions and differential picks that we do. And we can talk about some transfer strategies and take questions as we normally do. So, without further ado, let's get into it. JB Cullen says, here we go. I'm at 8.6k. What rank are you? A lot worse than that. 1.15 mil, as you can see on the graphic there. Very small red arrow. Very small red arrow. I think my safety score, according to livefpl.net, was I think like 51 or 52 points. So, to be honest, with basically the only person in my team doing well is like the super owned players, I'll kind of take that. I really needed Ake to play and get a clean sheet. I needed Mitoma to do something for me. Shaw did something for me. Yeah, I'm a bit unfortunate this week. It was a toss-up between Rashford and Haaland. It was always going to be Haaland for me, but it seems to be that there's a bit of stigma around Haaland, and he can't score away from home. He didn't score tonight either in City's 1-1 draw versus RB Leipzig. So, is it time to start not captaining Haaland when Man City are away from home? We'll have to wait and see on that. JB Collins says, do you have Twitter? I'm more active on there. I do. If you just take a look under the socials there in the chat, see my Twitter's at the top there. Just give me a follow over there. It's PilotFlame226 on all platforms as well, if you were looking for. JB Collins said he also had a Haaland as well. Yeah, basically the only way you did well this week is if you captained Rashford. And if you didn't, you needed some significant help. You needed like a Lucky Robertson clean sheet. You needed Luke Shaw to help you out. You needed Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard. You needed something, basically. You needed Bruno Fernandes. You needed something like that. Because had Kane's got another assist or a goal, I would have been probably fine. And I would have been about a gray arrow. But this is pretty much a gray arrow as it can get. Just a very small rank drop, all things considered. So yeah, let's run through the team really quickly. So Ederson, another 2 points. Disappointing, but you know, I kind of expected it at some point. I was like, it's going to be some point later on in the game. He's going to concede. City are going to have a bit of a ruffle of the feathers, and they'll probably still win the game, but they didn't, and they ended up drawing the game. Ake came on super late. Had Ake not come on for his 1 minute played, as you can see there, I would have got Robertson's 8 points off the bench, and I would have been looking okay. But, again, was hoping for a bit of jam. Didn't play Robertson. Didn't get the rub of the green, as it were. Trippier, just 1 point. I played him just because he's Trippier. But Newcastle, it was all over the shop for them. Luke Shaw, 6 points. Happy about that. I was happy for him to come off with a clean sheet because I was expecting Leicester to score. It turns out they didn't end up scoring. So, fair play to anyone who had any double United defense. De Gea plus Shaw. And Rashford captain would have been probably a pretty good week too. Mitoma, just a 2 points. Saka, Martinelli, not starting. Kind of expected that. But he managed to get the goal off the bench. A very fortunate goal. Saka getting a goal himself as well. Rashford, 15 points. I mean, the man's just on absolute fire at the moment. Nketiah with a blank. Not great there. Kane with the assist for Son's goal. I literally said when Son came off the bench, I was like, Richarlison's playing so bad. This is the type of game where Son's going to come off the bench and score, and it's going to be Harry Kane who assists him. Happens all the time. It was earlier on in the season that Son came off the bench and scored a hat trick. So, and then Holland with the captaincy blank with a decent bit of points on my bench. Andreas Pereira 3 points could have been useful. And Robertson's 8 points definitely is hard to bear on the bench as well. Glad to see Bueno's back and playing though, so that's going to be useful for this double game week as we plan on playing him in this blank and double. Jimmy Collins says, can't believe I'm top 10k owning Salah the whole time and now everyone's bringing him in. Yeah, you're already ahead of the curve. You're already ahead of the curve. And as mentioned on the title of the stream, Liverpool turnaround. I mean, they were up 2-0. You know, smooth sailing. Real Madrid looked in shambles, and all of a sudden the wheels fell off. They got smacked the other day by Wolves 3-0, but they ended up beating Everton. So, I don't know. And then they beat Newcastle, so it looked like things were turning around, and then they kind of got humbled and realized, hey, look, we're playing the current Champions League holders. So, yeah. It doesn't look great for them, but I think they're probably the dark horse favorites now to swoop in and take a top 4 spot, potentially, if they can keep a good run going, and they'll be potentially out of all competition. So, could be one to keep an eye on. Let's move on to how the predictions went this week. So let me bring up my tweet, which I don't think I screenshotted, so let me do that really quickly. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me just get the screenshot. Predictions, here we go. Quick screenshot of that. I don't think we did particularly well, but we'll wait and see. Alright, there we go. Now let's put it up on the screen. There we go. We got it sorted in the end. There we are. So yeah. So if you aren't aware of how our predictions work, basically we haven't been doing well. We got 6 points, 3 points, 7 points in the last 3 game weeks, and basically you get 3 points for an exact score. You get 1 point for a result. So had I predicted an Arsenal win but it wasn't 4-2, I would get 1 point. But if you get anything else than that, you get no points at all. And then we also do one kind of mark if you get a return for a differential pick too. So yeah, so last week 7 points, which was better than 3 points, but our differentials the last couple of weeks haven't been great. Just the 2 points. Or the two picks out of 10, basically, for those. So we predicted an Arsenal win, so we get 1 point there. Although it was double the score, but we still get the point nonetheless. Brentford really thought they would beat Crystal Palace. They actually had to end up coming from behind in that one to make it 1-1. So unfortunately, nothing doing there. Really thought Brighton was going to beat Fulham, especially given that they had. That they were at the Amex, basically. And unfortunate on that prediction there. Chelsea, again, very disappointing. 1-0 defeat to Southampton, who are managerless at the moment. Everton Leeds, I could have called this from a mile away. Everton at home, 1-0 Sean Dyche. Just seems to be quite easy to predict on that front. So 3 points there for the exact score. City Forest, I don't think anyone predicted a draw for that. So nothing there. Wolves, again, at home, expecting them to do the business there. Nothing doing. End up losing to Bournemouth. I also predicted Newcastle to beat Liverpool. That didn't go well. But United and Leicester pulled. United and Spurs pulled through versus Leicester and West Ham. Getting me points there for predictions. Not exact scores, but predictions for results nonetheless. So we got a total of 6 points, which is a drop-off from last week from our 7 points. Clean sheet. Chelsea did not keep a clean sheet this week. Pickford did, though. Chilwell did not. Jadon Sancho, I believe, was one of the goal scorers. He was. So that would have been a nice little neat differential for those that wanted it. Did Brian Mbomo get involved in the goal? He did. He got an assist as well. So differentials are above par this week. 3 out of 5 on the old differential picks there. So not terrible, not terrible. Surprise of the week is Chelsea's still continued poor form. Arsenal's incredible comeback, although I think it was quite fortuitous. Again, I would say Brentford having to come from behind versus Palace. All the teams that were at home that I was expecting to be like sure bankers, Brighton, Chelsea, although Brighton's game would be a bit more difficult. Brentford, Chelsea should have been pretty straightforward. Same with Wolves as well, and it just didn't go their way. And Newcastle were just all in bits. I don't think they've won a game without Bruno Guimaraes, so, which is very, very unfortunate for them. Although they will have him for the Carabao Cup final on Sunday. However, in that game, Nick Pope, don't know what he was doing. I think he was trying to do a diving header or something, and just completely got it all wrong. Just got it all wrong. Ended up basically just holding the ball as he was sliding along the ground, and then tried to boot it out of play or something, and then ended up volleying Trippier in the back of his leg too. So he'll be out of the Carabao Cup final. Dubravka, who came on as a substitute, he's played a game for Manchester United as he was on loan previously in the Carabao Cup. So they have to go to Loris Karius, formerly of Liverpool, the one who made the bundle of errors in the final versus Real Madrid, most notably. Not best thing to be known for. But he will most likely be the starting goalkeeper in the final for Newcastle, so not great for them. But I think Bruno Guimaraes is probably more of a bonus to them than Nick Pope is, in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see. But United's continued form, Spurs getting it back on track, Liverpool trying to turn things around, and the title race is still pretty open. United's getting pretty close to City. I think it's 3 points with the same number of games played, with Arsenal just 3 points then ahead of City. Or 2 points ahead of City, but they do have a game in hand, I believe. So it's definitely wide open for the thing, or 5 points ahead of City. I can't remember, but it is pretty close. Bigger leads have been lost, I would say. Bigger leads have definitely been lost in the league. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Moving into the predictions for this week, let me just remove the tweet out of the way. And we'll bring up our predictions here. So, these are our predictions for this week. So, first game out the gate. It is a Friday deadline this week. A Friday deadline at 6:30 UK time is the deadline, because there's 8 p.m. kickoff UK time for Fulham versus Wolves, which I'll be watching, hopefully. That should be an interesting one. I've gone with a 1-1. I think both teams will score in this one. It seems like Wolves are a bit kind of hit or miss. Fulham seem to be picking up some results here and there, and they're slowly just kind of going about their business and becoming an actual decent defense. But I think just away from home, Wolves have been a little bit better. A bit more of a kind of backs up against the wall kind of fight or flight type of mentality, as Lopetegui is one to come with a plan. So I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with a 1-1. And same in the Everton-Villa game. I think I'm going to go with a 1-1 as well. I think Everton will be more likely to win out of the two. But I think it'll be pretty close again, a 1-1 there. Leeds versus Southampton. I've gone with Leeds to win this one. I just don't think Southampton are destined to get any points this season any more than what they already have, to be honest. And I think Leeds pick it back up and win the game 2-0. As we know, Leeds are very fond of scoring, but often can concede at times. Just Southampton aren't very good at scoring goals unless it's James Ward-Prowse taking a free kick. Leicester versus Arsenal. I think if Leicester play it the way they do versus Manchester United in the opening 20 minutes and they convert their chances, they can put Arsenal under the cosh. But I don't think that will happen. I think Arsenal will be able to ride it out if Leicester were to do that and punish them as well. So I think I'm going to go with 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. West Ham Forest. Forest, I think, have only scored like 2 or 3 goals away from home all season, but it is West Ham, and West Ham haven't been the greatest in both departments, in defense and in attack. So I'm just going with on the fence here and going with a 1-1. This could easily be a 0-0 as well. Moving on to Bournemouth versus Man City, I've gone 4-0. It definitely, I did these predictions before this evening's game where they played Leipzig, but it's probably affirmed it even more that I think City are just going to come out against Bournemouth and try to see how much they can beat them by, to be honest. So I like City with a lot of goals here in this one, which is probably a bit unfortunate because there are some doubles in this week, and we probably don't want to captain Holland, even though I think he could go off. But it is an away fixture. One to keep it on. It is an away fixture, so would not be surprised if he managed to kind of avoid the points this week as well. And also Laporte and De Bruyne being out ill. Pep was unsure if they were going to be back for this one, as they weren't in the Champions League squad tonight. So some big misses for them there. Palace versus Liverpool. Liverpool notoriously do decently well versus Palace at Selhurst Park. I remember Mane had like a goal and assist and then was subbed off. Salah came on and scored 2 goals and got an assist after everyone had captained him. And yeah, that season they did pretty good, I think. So I back a Liverpool win here, although I think it'll be a little bit closer. I'm going to go with the 2-1. They're going to have to really turn it around. I think their minds are going to have to be focused on top 4 or bust, basically, and nothing short of it. Spurs versus Chelsea. I think both teams, I mean, Chelsea's been very poor recently, but always seem to, get up for it when it's a London derby, especially versus Spurs. They typically have somewhat of a favorable matchup, I would say, there in recent seasons. However, Spurs have been okay. And I think that it's probably going to be just kind of cagey on both sides. Both teams that kind of, Spurs won't want the ball. Chelsea will want the ball, but Chelsea can't really score. But Spurs aren't great at defensively. I'm just going to sit on the fence with this one and go with a 1-1. Arsenal versus Everton. I think this could be the banana peel again for Arsenal, but I have given them the win. I'm going to go with a narrow 1-0 win. I think Everton could just kind of stave off the pressure. They know how to beat them like they did previously at Goodison Park. So if they try to replicate it again, maybe Arsenal tweak some things and then they potentially get the win. I'm still going to go with Arsenal to win it though, but I think this could be the one where it's a bit wary. Don't take Everton lightly, and if they think, oh, well, we just kind of need to play our own game and we'll do fine versus them again, it could repeat itself and it could be a 1-0 defeat for them again. Liverpool versus Wolves is the last one on the doubles of this week. I think Liverpool should be comfortable in this one. Wolves, they won 3-0 last time. I think Liverpool will have learned from that game. I think all their energy is going to be focused on the Premier League because they pretty much know that going to the Bernabeu and scoring at least 3 just to go into added time without conceding is going to be a difficult task. So I think Klopp's probably going to put the majority of his eggs in the Premier League basket, at least up until the week that they have to play the second leg, which I don't think is next week. It's the week after. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I still think that Liverpool probably turn it around in this one and right the wrongs and get the victory here. Moving into clean sheets, I think Arsenal will probably keep 1 clean sheet out of the 2. Whether it's a 0-0 versus Everton or 1-0, something like that, or even maybe they keep Leicester out because United managed to do so. I think I'll go with a clean sheet for them. In terms of goalkeepers for the doubles this week, I want to say Ramsdale is probably... Oh, he is decently... actually, 12%. I didn't expect that. Let me just move the notepad while I'm searching for players. Who else doubles this week? So we got Everton, we got Wolves. Maybe Jose Sa would be a decent shout, 5.9%. We could go for Jose Sa, so let's do that. So Jose Sa would be a differential. Maybe he gets a few saves, keeps a clean sheet versus Fulham. That is definitely possible, and in around that 5% mark. In defense, Tarkowski is probably over 5% now. Yeah, 6.6. I'm still going to go for him, though. I think it's so important to how they play and how Sean Dyche wants to set up. And I just think that from set pieces, he's a threat. He's always aimed at. And I think he can do quite well in any game, basically, where they get decent enough chances from set pieces. Midfield differential pick this week. Who am I going to go for? I wonder what percentage ownership Salah is, to be honest. 26.4%. Gakpo might be below 5%. He's actually 4.6. I think Hakpo, as it's pronounced, is a decent differential shout. If you didn't want to go for Liverpool defense, you could go Hakpo, Salah, and Darwin. If you wanted to go that route, I can see that being a viable option as well. 2 goals scored in his last 2, so not too bad overall. And then forwards, what's Darwin Nunez's ownership? 9.7%. I think it is a bit of a differential pick. Who else we got here? So we got Arsenal, Liverpool, Wolves, and Everton. Who can I go from Wolves? Let me see. Let's go to Wolves. Is it Cunha that's been playing? Yeah, let's go with Cunha. He looks to be a bit lively. Looks to be kind of the one that's making things happen. Hasn't got a return yet, so be desperate to get one. But the Fulham fixture is probably the one you're kind of looking at. But again, still has 2 teams. You know, Fulham, early parts of the season, was still leaking goals. Now, not so much. You'll probably say Liverpool's probably the easier fixture. So let's go with Cunha, who was, what percentage was he? 0.3%. Wolves, and he is 0.3%. So there we go. So that is our clean sheet and differential picks for this week. So let's move those out of the way. And we can bring up the team as it stands. So we made some transfers. We have made some transfers. And we did them because we were expecting some potential price rises. We saw that that Liverpool looked like they started the game particularly well. Maybe didn't finish it particularly well, but defense we'll worry about later. We've had Robertson. We've had Robertson in there for a few game weeks now. He hasn't been somebody that we've been able to basically get rid of. I'm just posting the clean sheet and differential picks up just now. So you should be able to see those over on Twitter. So yeah, he's been one that we've kind of hung on to. But we did bring in Salah. We brought in Darwin as well. And we brought in Tarkowski. Now, the only way I was able to bring in... was able to do this form of combo, getting rid of Harry Kane, getting rid of Marcus Rashford, and getting rid of Nathan Ake, was I had to get rid of Rashford. If I wanted to get rid of Martinelli, it wouldn't seem wise to me, to be honest. A Leicester team that is or can ship goals with Martinelli in the team, probably starting for Arsenal as he came off the bench and scored, and will probably play over Trossard most likely. I couldn't go without Martinelli, I don't think. Yes, there's an argument to swap him to Odegaard, but I think that's just maybe not the time for it. Maybe Odegaard becomes into our thoughts later on. But I just couldn't trust Ake to start versus Bournemouth. You know, he was saying, oh yeah, Aymeric Laporte's ill, might not be back, and then we, come Saturday or Sunday, whenever City play, and then all of a sudden, boop, oh, look at that, Ake's on the bench again. So I just couldn't be bothered with that. It frees up a City spot for later, if need be. We decided to get rid of Ake and bring in Tarkowski, who I think is, yes, Ake's ceiling is probably 6 points versus Bournemouth, but the way City are playing at the moment, it's probably more like 2 if he does start. But Tarkowski can definitely keep a clean sheet versus Aston Villa. We've seen him score a set piece versus Arsenal, so it's definitely in the realm of possibility. And then McCain, Chelsea at home. Reluctant sell, I would say, because his 2 fixtures afterwards are quite good, actually. One of those being Forest. The other being... who is the other one? It was Wolves, which isn't a bad fixture, I would say. But then most likely blanks in 28. So overall, this is kind of what we had to go with money-wise. And I can show you that on FPL.team. So if you don't know what FPL.team is, fantastic website. It allows you to plan ahead. They've actually gone and put the implementation from Planet FPL. Now, if you aren't aware of Planet FPL, where have you been all season? James and Such do a fantastic job. James does a lot of work in the community, takes stuff from Ben Krellin, Lego Mane. There's a bunch of different people who do a bunch of different resources, and then he creates a podcast which talks about chip strategies and that sort of stuff and predictions for fixtures later on. So those have all been put into place at the moment for as if it was as if they were going to be potential doubles and that sort of stuff already for the ones that we know about. So Gameweek 29 was introduced, and we'll kind of preview that a little bit later on, as well as what potential chip strategy. We'll go more into that probably into next week's pod. But here we go. So this is the setup we have here. So we took out Rashford, we brought in Salah. We took out Kane, we brought in Darwin. And we took out Ake and we brought in Tarkowski. Robertson comes in for Trippier, Bueno comes in for Shaw, Andreas comes in for Matoma, and we have a nice 11. We got potentially 2, 4, 6, 8 doublers, which is quite nice. And our single game week players is just Pereira, who's probably going to be a 2 or 3 pointer, and then Holland and Ederson. Now, the captaincy, I currently have it on Saka, but it could be Salah. I'm not entirely sure. And in terms of the actual money, we have 1.6 million left in the bank. If I was going to do, instead of Rashford, if I had gotten rid of Martinelli, I could have done Salah for Martinelli, but then I would have had to get another midfielder out for the likes of Odegaard if I wanted somebody, or go with a defender or something like that. My options just didn't look good, so I had to go with this option here, and potentially get Rashford back next week when they play Liverpool. So I'm just going to reset that so the money fixes itself. So it was Salah in here, it was Darwin in here, and it was Tarkowski in here. So that's what the team currently looks like. So, like I said, Saka or Salah. I think I'm probably going to go with Salah. I'm not sure. It'll come down to the wire, to be honest. I think it's going to be pretty tough. I think Saka's probably going to be over 100%. Or at least damn well close to it for those that can't get Liverpool players. Holland will be over 100%, and I think Salah will be up there probably as well. I also think Trent will have decent ownership. Gakpo will have a little bit too, so we'll have to wait and see. So this is what we ended up doing. Now, if we look at the team for 26, so this is just coming up next week. So after the end of 25, so the fixtures on the Wednesday. So if we just go back to the fixtures here real quickly. These fixtures down here, Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, Wolves, all the FA Cup games also conclude around the same time on the Wednesday. They will also do the draw for the FA Cup quarterfinal. And we will also know who is guaranteed blanking in Game Week 28. The one game that we're all intrigued to know about is if either Wolves and Leeds are going to blank, or if Liverpool and Fulham are going to blank, because Fulham play Leeds. So if you have a bunch of Liverpool players in your team right now, or you're going to transfer them in, and you want to save your free hit for potentially game week 29, you want Fulham to lose. You want Leeds to win that game. Now, at the moment, Leeds seem to be the worse team than Fulham, but you never know. It is the FA Cup, and anything can happen. So that's kind of the situation there. So I see a lot of strategies are basically, if we go into game week 28, currently the fixtures have all the fixtures still in place, but the more likelihood is that it's going to be something like this. So Leicester are probably going to be Blackburn, so we'll blank that. United will most likely blank as well, because they'll probably win theirs, versus West Ham. Spurs will most likely go on as well as West Ham. So if, let's say, hypothetically, Leeds were to somehow beat Fulham, my team would look like this. I would have I'd have 9 players. It'd be looking pretty good. And I'd also have my transfer from 26, 27, and including game week 28. And let's say, hypothetically, we could do something like get rid of Shaw, bring in Botman, or bring in Reece James, or somebody like that. Maybe we can deal with Eddie Nketiah, bring in Jesus, something like that. Maybe go without a goalkeeper. Maybe we just bring in Kepa, just for argument's sake, for a -4, which is actually more like a -2. And then you field 11 players, and it looks pretty good. The problem is what if the Liverpool Fulham game is a blank, and the Wolves Leeds one is not? Well, even with 3 transfers, we're not looking too hot. We would have 4 at the back, plus 5 with Kepa, plus 3 Arsenal players, and that'd be for -4. 8 players, not bad. It's not bad. It's probably one of the better pieces that you can get, but again, Bueno's not the most reliable. Tarkowski, is he likely to keep a clean sheet versus Chelsea? We're spending a -4 to basically get rid of Nketiah. Will Martinelli start? There are some questions involved in this, and then we're also not factoring the fact that there might be upsets too, which could cause things to go a bit wonky, but we'll know everything next week, Wednesday, when all the games conclude. But it's definitely better if I have the Liverpool and Fulham game on, and not the Leeds Wolves game. That is for certain. So basically, if I know, we'll just say, let's go under the circumstances that the Wolves Leeds game is the one that's on. Liverpool Fulham is off because Fulham went through. This is what the team will look like in 26, just as a little preview. We would then probably bring Rashford back in for Mo Salah. I think at this point, we could potentially consider getting rid of Ederson versus Newcastle and bringing in Kepa, who plays Leeds, so probably get a lot of shots saved in that one. Maybe we just take the -4 hit now. Maybe we have to deal with Nketiah instead, so maybe that's the -4. I think a -4 is probably going to happen in this week if Liverpool players are the ones that have to get chucked out. Mitoma probably comes in for Pereira. I think I still start Nketiah in the event that he might play. Do I play Shaw over Robertson or Trippier? I think I probably play Trippier. I'm half tempted to play Bueno over Shaw and Robertson, but maybe just Shaw is just in there, and I just play Darwin in the event that he somehow manages to get something. Moving into game week 27, we'd have 1 free transfer. Robertson would come back in versus Bournemouth. Tarkowski has Brentford home. Not the greatest fixture, but is one that they could potentially keep a clean sheet. Mitoma would have our double. I don't think I would have kind of the capacity to go with something like adding more Brighton players. I think having just Matoma is probably okay. Maybe I go for a wild card in this game week. That is also an option and one to kind of look at as well. The wild card 27, free hit 28, bench boost 29 is an option. But I think I can still potentially manage without it. So if, let's say, I didn't go full bore on the Brighton double, which I think leads away Crystal Palace at home, they should be doing well in that one, but it's not enough for me to kind of go full gung-ho when I have Robertson, Bournemouth away, good fixture. Shaw, Southampton at home. Trippier, Wolves at home. Saka, Fulham. Martinelli, Nketiah, Fulham. Maybe I go Jesus here and change things up. Rashford is Southampton at home. Haaland, Crystal Palace away. Not great, but not bad either. Nunez has got a good fixture. If we roll into Game Week 28 with 2 free transfers, we got our two frees that we would have used would have brought in Botman and would have brought in Jesus for Nketiah if Nketiah was now being rotated. That is still an option. And lastly, we could just potentially we'll have Bueno in, and we can get rid of Robertson, and maybe we bring in another Chelsea defender. Would be potentially the option here. The other thing we could do is look to get rid of Darwin and bring in maybe Callum Wilson or an Isak. Somebody like that could be an option. Maybe a João Felix is somebody we could potentially look to bring in instead of Darwin Nunez. Although Liverpool's fixtures post Game Week 29, where we would probably be free hitting in that, are decent after the Arsenal fixture with Leeds away, Forest at home. But we can go with João Felix as an example here. And then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. And that's not too bad for a -4. So basically we would be taking a -8 total across 3 game weeks to kind of set up for it. But we do save our free hit for 29. We save our wild card as well. And our bench boost for 34. And in 29, we would, again, it would be a free hit type scenario here. Or maybe even a free hit in 32 when there's a bunch of blanks. You can wildcard in 29, free hit in 32, and then navigate with transfers for the bench boost in 34. But in Game Week 30, we come out the other side. We have Haaland in there. Matoma will come back out. Triple Liverpool, not the greatest, but we could potentially work around that. Andreas Pereira, would he play over the likes of Bueno? Probably, I would say. I'd probably play Robertson over Tarkowski, who has the away fixture. I would at least give Liverpool some type of credit in this one. Maybe this is where Martinelli comes out. We have plenty of money, so we can go the likes of Bruno Fernandes. It'd be for 1 free transfer, and I think that looks pretty good. We could even go De Bruyne versus Southampton as well. That could be an option. If this wasn't Botman and this was like a Reece James or somebody like that, they would have Wolves away. Wouldn't be the worst fixture in the world. And then in Game Week 31, you're looking at a pretty decent team there as well. Tarkowski, maybe he comes in to play over Andreas Pereira, who has Everton. They play each other. Maybe that's the option. We go 4-3-3. Again, we don't know. We would have 1 free transfer again because we would use a free hit or something there. Game Week 32 would be a blank, which we don't know about yet, and then so on and so forth. So if we reset everything back to what it was, we adjust the fixtures. So we go, and what we'll do is we'll blank this one, and we'll put in Liverpool. And we do our transfers as we did. So Tarkowski, Salah, and then Darwin. Again, the team's the same. Whoever the captain is, sure, whatever it may be. into game week 26. Team looks still decent enough. Probably put Trippier in, probably put Shaw in. But then we can keep our Liverpool players. We have to get rid of potentially somebody for Rashford. Who's that gonna be? Well, it's gotta be somebody. We kind of want to keep Salah. Can we bring in somebody for? Can we downgrade somebody and make it work somehow? Could we do Pereira to Rashford, and then Ederson down to a goalkeeper? We can't, but we could play Ward instead if we wanted to go. If we really wanted to go super cheap and worry about it later, but that's unfortunately not an option. Maybe Luke Shaw is one we get rid of, and we just kind of go for, you know, a cheaper defender at 3.9. Who would that be? I'm not sure what we're gonna do there, to be honest. If we really wanted Rashford back, maybe it is a situation where Robertson is the one to go, and we kind of work around the fact that we could get Gakpo in, or Nketiah maybe becomes Jota or Firmino or somebody like that, and maybe that's the situation we go for. So maybe we go for something like Robertson. We can't go Reece James, he's too expensive. We'd have to go for somebody a bit cheaper. Maybe this is where we bring in a Newcastle defender. Don't have to necessarily play him per se in this one. So we put Rashford in, probably over Darwin, and just play Salah. Take the -4 and just kind of roll with it. Then we go to game week 27. Team looks pretty solid. This is where Nketiah might be out of the team, so we could just bench him in this one, put Darwin in for us. Botman comes in for Tarkowski for the double clean sheet potential. And then maybe this is a situation where we just say, well, Ederson's probably going to concede to Palace. Let's just get rid of him and bring in Kepa anyway. Or we could just leave our options open and kind of just say whatever. Kepa's probably going to concede to Leicester anyway, so we just leave Ederson in there. Captaincy is going to be whatever. I'm not really sure that week. And then in 28, all our Liverpool players could be playing. Tarkowski comes in. And then we would get rid of Nketiah. He would become Jesus, who would come in for Haaland. We could then get rid of Ederson for Kepa, who would come in for us. And then lastly, we could get rid of one of our defenders. You know, probably Luke Shaw, most likely. Although the fixtures are pretty good. You know, 29 is a double as well, so maybe you want to keep Shaw, but again, that's a free hit week as well. But Shaw in game week 30 is Everton at home, Forest away. Again, that's still pretty good. So maybe we want to keep Luke Shaw. Bueno only gives us 4.3, which isn't the end of the world, unless it would be like a Tyrone Mings type situation, who could probably get sent off or something like that. But maybe that is an option that we can look to. And then we could basically field mostly a full 11. 10 players, I think, is pretty good, considering you have Martinelli, Jesus, Saka, who is probably going to be full of fitness there. 2 Liverpool in there as well. This is only assuming that if we want Rashford back as well. So again, that's just a bit of brainstorming there. Just some general ideas at the moment for the different routes. But again, we'll know more next week, Wednesday, where we will be able to kind of fill in kind of those blanks. But the team currently, as it stands, I currently have the armband on Bukayo Saka, with Salah as the vice captain. Maybe I'll switch that around. I'll have to think about it a little bit, but I'll post my team as I normally do before the deadline, so that y'all can see that. But I have Ederson currently in goal, Tarkowski, Bueno, Robertson, Andreas, Saka currently with the armband, Martinelli, Salah with the vice captaincy, Haaland, Nketiah, and Darwin Nunez with no help on the bench other than a backup for Ederson. So hopefully the doubles are going to help us out quite nicely here. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it's been a good stream. Thank you all for watching. Let's move over to the big screen. So that's going to do it for this week's Deadline-ish stream. I'll post this over on YouTube, and if you are watching this over on YouTube, we do our streams over on Twitch. I had to do it on Wednesday this week, so this is when this was live, because I have some stuff coming up on Thursday and Friday, which I need to attend to. So, yeah, make sure to like, make sure to favorite, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. I will be posting my team over on Twitter before the deadline. If you have any comments, make sure to put them down below. Tweet me at your teams and stuff at PilotFlame226 over on Twitter. And I'll make sure to answer the questions as best I can as well. So, until the next one, take care.